Welcome to the Golf Report podcast. I'm joined by Whitney Hocutt, the head women's golf coach at Rogers State University. Coach, how are things going? And just, how was your Thanksgiving? How's, your break from college golf going so far?
Yeah, so Gavin, thank you for having me
Mhm.
today. I'm super excited, and Thanksgiving was great. Spent it with my family, and then
Mhm.
as far as off season's been going, it's been really great. It was a little different. It feels like it flew by. No, the month of November flew by, but we worked out hard. We actually did our inter squad matches during the month of November, and those are always a lot of fun. And just some head-to-head matches from and put a bracket together. So and then good workouts and things to that nature. And it's always fun because this is kind of our quiet time as college coaches.
Yeah.
So um kind of gearing up and actually about to head out to our coaches convention this next week. So looking forward to that and going out and watching the AJGA tournament that's out there on Sunday and Monday. And then we'll slide right into our meetings and convention there in Vegas. So gearing up for that and then gearing up for the holiday season with my family again. So,
Yeah.
but how are you and everything like that?
Yeah. Everything's going well with me.
Good.
Just, yeah, getting to talk to a few coaches now. So I noticed you mentioned, your team has a break from tournaments. Your last tournament, you hosted at the end of October, which we'll get into. Your next tournament will be in, Florida, in February. So what's it like, to have these 3 months off, from competition for you as coach and for your team, you get off,
Yeah.
November, December, and January. What's it like,
Yeah. So
for you and your team to have 3 months off, and just what do you and your team work on in these 3 months to get ready for
no,
the spring season?
Yeah, great question. So, we're prepping and getting ready as far. We kind of look back at what we did in the fall and individually as players and what can they develop during these off seasons. So, if it's they were losing shots, we look kind of like at their stats and everything. And are they losing shots with some of their short game? Are they losing shots off the tee box? Are we needing to get faster, stronger? And are we needing to get more distance off the tee, or what are some of those gains that we can make in these 3 months individually? And so those are the things that we look at and we really try and work on during November, December, and January. And it's really up to the player. When the ladies are about to leave here this next week after finals, they'll head home kind of around December 13th date. And so then from December 13th till January 10th, they're kind of on their own at home, and everybody's going home, which is great, and able to go see their family. And that's always a refresh for all of us, including myself. And so they'll hopefully, while they're at home, be able to get indoors and hit, or get outside and work on the nice days, and really try to work on the areas of the game that they personally need. So then whenever we get back at it January 10th as a team, we're ready to go. We kind of hit the ground running on January 10th.
Yeah. And you have a mix of players, you have local players from Oklahoma, Arkansas, New Mexico, and then you also have some international players, from, Argentina, Iceland, obviously, your senior leader, Indonesia, which we'll get in, talking about later. But for your three, international players, for this break, after they complete, exams and go home, do they get to go home for the holidays, or how does that work for your three international players?
Yeah, so most of the time they do get to go home.
Okay.
It's really up to them and their families on
Yeah.
what they want to do. Lydia has stayed here before over the holiday break.
Yeah.
This year she is going to get to go home, and so she's excited. So she, like you said, she's our one from Indonesia and one of our senior leaders, and
Hmm.
so she'll go back home and get to spend time with family. And it's kind of nice because for her, and even for Melina, who is from Argentina, which is our freshman, it's summertime for them at home.
Okay.
So where here in Oklahoma, it's cold, it's a little wintry, and everything. They get to go home and they can hopefully be in back in their polos and their shorts and t-shirts and stuff, and be able to go practice there at home. Then Kristen from Iceland, she's one of our other senior leaders. She's also getting to go home, and for her, she actually has a great golf facility there in Iceland where she can even get inside and be able to make swings and see her swing coach and do all the things while she's at home as well. So all three this year are getting to go home, and just every year is a little bit different. It really depends on
Mhm.
timing of flights, obviously price of flights, and everything to that degree. But for the most part, every one of them, even our local girls, they get about a month off from classes unless they're taking a winter intercession class or they're taking a winter class. But for the most part, they're all good on their grades and up to date with how many hours they're in and everything like that. So
Yeah.
none are having to take any winter intercession courses. So that makes it nice.
Yeah. So coach, I'm just interested to know, Roger State, obviously, I've been looking, has had, great success over the past few years, but I'm interested to know, you have local players, from the US, Oklahoma, you have a lot of players from, but you also have three international players. So I'm just interested to know, Roger State, a Division II school, how were you able to recruit, and get players, those three international players, from Indonesia and Argentina and Iceland, how did that
Yeah,
work out? And how's it been,
yeah.
having, international players on your team along with, the local players, from Oklahoma.
For sure. So even from my very first year, I'm in year 8 now
Mhm.
as head women's golf coach. And from the very first year, we've had a lot of international girls. You can kind of look back at our history. For the most part, we were actually probably weighed heavily more with internationals my first few years. And it was great. And it was more or less that people around our area didn't even know Roger State existed. And that's a sad fact, but it's a true fact. And it's a beautiful campus. It's in a thriving area. We're in a beautiful location in Oklahoma and everything, but we're only 20 years old in terms of being a 4-year school. So we went from being a junior college. We went through a lot of different name changes, but we were a junior college at one point, and then made that transition to a 4-year institution in 2000. So we're coming up. I say 20 years, but so we're coming up on that 25th year now, and so a lot of people hadn't heard of us. So even in our area, over the last now 4 to 5 years, I'm getting a lot more local girls that have heard about Roger State. Their counselors are hearing about Roger State. So it's great because now, and not only that, obviously, iron sharpens iron. So we've now had a lot of success as well in going to the national championship and playing great golf. So that also puts us kind of more on the map as far as our golf program, and those type of things. But those young ladies that were part of the foundation really helped build our team and our reputation, which obviously I'm thankful for as the coach. And a lot of them have now had a lot of great success individually, and now giving back to their communities, and that's great to see. I even have a couple that still live here in the Claremore area, and they're still around. They come around the team still, and it's great to always see them come back and give back to their program. And then for me personally, how I've recruited those players for internationals, I don't have the budget to go obviously to France and Indonesia or Argentina or anything like that to go recruit them, but I try to build that relationship with them. I usually get emails. We all do. We get multiple emails a day from different recruiters. And so if we get one recruit that we end up talking with for a long time, they do come here or they almost come here, we end up continuing to speak with that recruiter. So then that recruiter kind of keeps sending us emails and that sort of thing. So it kind of turns into, if you want to call it a pipeline, you can call it that, I guess. But it really helps us as a Division II team, because now I can trust that recruiter. Okay, here's what I'm specifically looking for, X, Y, and Z. I'm looking for a player that, I'm really needing a 4 and 5 bag, and I'm needing her to do, have this scoring average, have this with her game. I can help her with this, but can you try and help me find a player? And this is about how much money I have left to work with scholarship wise. And he or she, being that recruiter, will then help me out. And from there, I can then speak to their swing coaches at home. And I take that very seriously, and I try to find out everything I can about them before they ever come here to Rogers State. And that's multiple conversations with the recruit, their family, but also, like I said, their swing coaches, anybody that they've kind of put on their golf resume that I can really find out a lot of information about that player. And it's like I always tell every recruit whenever I'm recruiting them, what you see is what you get. I'm going to be upfront. I'm going to tell you exactly what you can expect. I don't want there to be any surprises once you get here, especially girls that are coming from a whole nother country. So we really try to make sure we go over everything that we can, really show them campus if we can, whether that's a virtual tour or even through Skype, through a PowerPoint. Like I make different PowerPoints for our recruits and to show them our facilities and our location in the Claremore area. So that's really, again, with the use of technology and everything, that is really the way that I'm able to get these players, and again, building that relationship with them for over a year and a half to 2 year process, honestly. And it's something that I take very serious, and I love about my part of my job is building the relationships with these young athletes, whether they end up coming here to Rogers State or not. I enjoy that part.
Yeah. So obviously, the transition can be, different for each player, and each student, but overall, throughout your time, particularly for your international, players, how have you seen the transition being for you as coach? How do you, work with your, students and players, particularly your international players, to make the transition, because coming to America and, going to school at Rogers State, I'm sure is not easy for your international players. So how have you just worked, to make the transition for your international players, as seamless and easy as it can be?
Yeah. So, we try to, again, help them as much as we can,
Mhm.
obviously. And college is difficult for anyone,
Yeah.
whether they're an international student or they're an in-state kid. It's a different animal, whether you're a college athlete or not. College can be very difficult. So then you throw in being a college athlete and the demands and the schedule that we now have, and that we have to again, try and get them to understand, because it's different whenever they come from high school or junior golf, and they're able to set their own schedule and set their own practice. Well, now we've got to really work on, okay, here's what your day is going to look like. So again, even to help those international students, we at Rogers State, there's, and this is for every university, but they must meet certain requirements. As an international student, they have to score a certain score for the English proficiency test, right? And there's different tests
Mhm.
that they can take, and different numbers that they have to score depending on the test or the exam that they decide. So what a lot of them will take is what's called the TOEFL, which is the English language test, and it's understanding their speaking as well as their comprehending, and their reading of English. So, because for those international students, and I know everyone understands, it's English is their second language. They're coming in and not knowing every ins and outs about our culture and about our speaking and about our way of life. So, we really have to help them adapt quickly, because it's either sometimes it's sink or swim. So again, we help as far as setting up everything that we can before they get here. So we make sure that they have all their testing done, that they have all their NCAA requirements done with the eligibility center. They've turned in all their transcripts. They have to even get their transcripts usually translated. If it's not an English predominant speaking area that they're in, they have to get their transcripts translated. They have to go through the SEVIS process. They have to get their student visa, everything to that nature. So I help them, but then even our admissions team here at Rogers State then takes it over, and I'm that liaison to help make sure that everything's getting done and done correctly so that we can get them here in a timely manner. And then we get them set with their schedule, with their class schedule. And then they usually come in about a week early in August. So we always start around August 15th or so, middle of August. And so they come in maybe a half a week early or so, especially the international freshmen. I try to get them here a few days early just so they can adapt, so that I can meet with them. I'm here on campus. We walk them around. We show them exactly where their classes are going to be. here's where you're going to go at Monday at 8:30 for this class. And from here, you're going to walk over to this class. And we don't do, again, we don't do that just for international girls. We also do that for our U.S. girls and even our in-state ladies. Again, coming to campus, whenever you see, a TR 8:30 to 9:15 or 8:30 to 9:45, you don't even know what the R stands for. Tuesday, Thursday class. So you're trying to get them to understand and adapt as quickly as possible. So, and understanding, again, time management. So that's something that as their coach, that I really try to strive with them. We have 24 hours in a day, and we've got to try and use them as efficiently as we can.
Yeah. So Coach, you were talking about this earlier, but can you tell me a little bit about Rogers State University?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Rogers State University, we again went through a few name changes. We've actually been around since statehood around 1907, which is when Oklahoma was a state.
Okay.
We were Eastern Preparatory School, which was a Cherokee Nation school for the Cherokee Nation students in our area. Then we transitioned to Oklahoma Military Academy, known as West Point of the South, and we in 1917, and we prepped and we got military young men ready for action and for our armed services. So we're very history oriented on campus. It's a beautiful campus. We have a lot of old buildings. We even have an Oklahoma Military Academy museum on campus. So we ran as Oklahoma Military Academy till 1971. And so in 1971, we then made the transition into a junior college, Claremore Junior College, that did have athletics. And then in the late 80s, mid 80s, they did away with athletics. And until 2000, we ran pretty predominantly as a junior college, and then started making that transition into Rogers State College, and then into Rogers State University, which we are today. And like I said, back in 2000. We did not bring athletics back until 2005. And our first few sports that came back were baseball and softball, men's and women's soccer. And then we started bringing back basketball. In 2009 is when our women's and men's golf team, our programs started. And we began as an NAIA school. So we were actually a step below, obviously, the NCAA umbrella. And whenever I actually played college golf here at Rogers State. We were NAIA. Then in 2014 and 15 is when we started making that transition into NCAA Division II. We finished that transition basically in 2016. And then I was fortunate enough to come back in 2017 whenever I played. And when I was an assistant here, we had one coach that coached both teams. And then in 2017, I was fortunate enough to have the opportunity. Chris Radcliffe, our athletic director here at Rogers State, he was in his first year here, saw the need for to split the programs, have a head coach for the men, have a head coach for the women. And I was fortunate to get to come back to my alma mater in 2017, and I've been here ever since. So again, I said it earlier, but we are it's a beautiful campus. We sit on the hill of Claremore, of the city of Claremore. We have about 20,000 people in our Claremore that live in Claremore. And then Rogers County actually makes up multiple cities and towns. So we're kind of in the, again, northeast corner of Oklahoma, where there's lots of lakes, beautiful trees, lots of greenery. We're actually known as green country. So it's a beautiful area, beautiful location, lots of economic development actually coming into our area. So, which is exciting to see, and it's needed. So we're kind of on that Tulsa corridor. We're about 35 miles northeast of Tulsa, which is a large metropolitan area, and one of our larger cities in Oklahoma. So that makes it nice. And if you're a golf guru, you know that the Tulsa area, we have lots of great golf courses. Southern Hills, a lot of Perry Maxwell golf courses, but Southern Hills, which has hosted many PGA Championship events, which just occurred over the last couple of years, and then even U.S. Open events where Tiger and I think it was Retief Goosen back in, I think it was '01 to the 2001 U.S. Open. They went into the playoff. No, it wasn't Retief. Maybe Rocco Mediate. I don't remember. Anyway, doesn't matter. But long story short, there's great golf courses even in the Tulsa area, and our location to campus is amazing for this area. We're the closest 4-year school in the Tulsa metro complex. So we're hoping that we continue. We have a great nursing program that feeds right in. It's actually one of the top nursing programs in the state, that feeds right into our hospitals. We're actually doing a large STEM campaign for a science, technology, and math center, an engineering center, excuse me. So chemical engineering is a new degree that we have here at Rogers State. We're growing master's programs and everything like that. So it's very exciting time at Rogers State in general, in terms of our growth and where we're going. So it's really exciting.
Yeah. So Coach, I heard a lot about, you just mentioned there's a lot of growth happening at Rogers State. When you began, Rogers State was an NAIA institution, and now it's a Division II university. So what was, the transition like for you? You've seen it, be an NAIA institution, now it's a Division II university. So what was that, like for you? Just seeing, and what's this growth been like, for your university as a whole?
It's that's a great question. It's
Mhm.
it's very exciting, it's rewarding.
Yeah.
I was part of that first program, first year. I was actually the first female that played all 4 years and graduated from our women's golf program.
Well,
So
congrats.
we had ladies that came in and they played for 1 or 2 years and they graduated as well. But I was at the first 4 year and player that played all 4 years, and so it's humbling, it's exciting, and then to be able to obviously lead the program makes it even that much more special.
Mhm.
But to see pictures of campus and the way that it has changed and the buildings that have been built over the last 10 years, 15 years, it's astronomical. It's crazy. We went from having no dorms to in 2002, the first dorm, which is University Village A, which are apartment style dorms, was completed. The Stratton Taylor Library was completed as well. And then now we have 2 more dormitory complexes that were built in 2015, 16, as well as a dining hall and new state of the art classrooms and things to that nature that were also built around that same time. So for me personally, to see that growth, it is very exciting. And then the interesting thing, my undergraduate degree here at Rogers State, my bachelor's degree was actually biology. So to now get the opportunity to see the STEM campaign kind of come to life, and the science side of me is super excited about that. Obviously then now I have my master's in sports administration. So little segue out of the science world per se, especially with what I'm doing now. So, but to see the need in our area, again, with the economic growth, with the hospitals that have been built, and the need for those, science, technology, engineering, and math jobs, now to see that Rogers State is taking it, one step further, and we're making sure that we're getting we're getting students work ready for our immediate area. I mean, they can come out. Our students here at Rogers State can finish their degree, hopefully come out almost debt free with being a state institution and receiving scholarships and foundation endowments and things like that. And to
Mhm.
be able to almost come out debt free and being able to come straight into the workforce in the local area that impacts me and my family, it's very humbling and very exciting to get to witness and see that we at Rogers State and the leaders at Rogers State are making all that happen.
Yeah.
So
Mhm. So Coach, you're from Claremore, Oklahoma. Can you tell me about, growing up in Oklahoma, how you got started playing golf? And then let's talk about, your time at Rogers State. You were, a three-time most valuable player. You led the team, the four tournament titles. And then also outside of, your golf career, you were, an honor roll student and you were on the student, athletic advisory committee for 3 years. So just tell me about your start in golf, growing up in Oklahoma, and then, the success you had at Rogers State, playing golf, and then, the things you did outside of, playing golf at Rogers State.
yeah, all right. So um, I was very fortunate. We played. We were again. There was four of us kids growing up.
Hmm.
All of us played all the sports. We did all the things. So we played soccer. We played golf. We did gymnastics. We did the cheerleading. We did softball. We did the t-balls. We did all of it.
Yeah.
Then each one of us, me and my siblings, we all obviously clung to our own sport. We all kind of found our niche. And when we were growing up, I was born here in Claremore, but then we moved to Veneta, which is a small city, about 30, 45 miles away from Claremore. And we were members at a 9-hole country club. And I went to junior camps there. My dad actually got me started, and me and my siblings would go to the junior camps. And then what my dad would do in the evenings, he would go and play. He would go and play 9 holes, or we'd even go 18. And my mom too. Both of them played. And what my dad would actually do is how golf courses are now teaching junior golfers, actually, the Operation 36, or I think that's what it's called. And then, and even now they're taking it a step further and teaching it to junior golfers, but even women. But dad would actually make us make a putt before we could move on to anything else. So like on the, hole number one on the green, he would put a tee down and I'd have to make a putt from there. And it would obviously take me 1 hole, 2 holes, maybe even to the third hole before I made that putt. Then after I made that putt, I would then get to move off the green and get to chip. And, and we would talk about how to do it and that sort of thing. And so then again, maybe sometimes it would take me 6 holes, whatever the case may be. By the 6th hole, I was chipping. Then after chipping, we moved off just even a little bit further from the green, and I would hit onto the green and then putt, and I'd have to get it in a certain number, right? And kind of meet that challenge. Well, then it wasn't until hole, 15, 16 that I was getting to hit a 100-yard shot, with my drive, with the junior driver. So he obviously, he and my mom really, really helped nurture, that commitment to golf. And then again, getting to go to those junior clinics and things like that. So then fast forward, I actually played a lot more basketball and basketball and softball growing up than I ever did golf. Junior golf just wasn't as predominant when I was growing up, unless you were a member at a, good country club in the Tulsa area, or whatever the case may be. You really didn't know about what to do and how to get there, if that makes sense. Oklahoma Junior Golf Tour was just kind of new as I was growing up. There wasn't just a whole lot of junior tournaments to necessarily always go play in. And so unless you were within that, circle, you really didn't know about it. I mean, I still played golf, would go out with my dad, do all the things, but I actually played 80 to 100 softball games every summer. So, which is great. Again, it taught me the importance of, being a team sport, making sure that, you represent yourself, your family, but you go and represent this team more importantly than anything. Like, again, what I always say, like the name on the front is more important than necessarily the name on the back. You got to go help your team. You got to go help your team win. So, again, I was a very fortunate athlete as I was growing up, and my senior year of high school, in the state of Oklahoma, we play high school softball in the fall, and we play high school golf in the spring. So, um, my and so I said I didn't play very much junior golf, but I played high school golf all 4 years. And I went from my freshman year of high school shooting a 124 my very first tournament to breaking 100 by the end of that freshman year. So it's and I was way too competitive. I didn't want to not be good at something. So then at 15 and a half, I started working at our golf course here at Heritage Hills, that actually backs up to campus. And then, being able to work at the golf course, I was then able to get lessons, get the help that I needed, not just with my golf swing, but how course management, getting help in that regard. So I went from freshman year, again, a 120 player, to being able to break 100. And that was more just because I was dedicated to it. I had a high school coach that wouldn't let me go to the range. He actually had me hit and chip and do pitch shots with my 7 iron. And
Okay.
until I got that down, I couldn't go to the driving range, which at the time would make me mad. um, but it really helped my golf game. It really developed me as a player, because that short swing of that pitch, that pitch shot with that 7 iron, that's the main part of that golf swing. So then, as I got that down, I got to then move on to the driving range, and again, he helped me a lot that my freshman year of high school. So then, by the time I finished as a senior, I was an all-stater in golf. I had our fall softball season, and I was actually going to play. I'd been offered a scholarship at a junior college, Northern Oklahoma College, to go play softball. And I was dead set. That's exactly what I was going to go and do. Then the coach here at Rogers State, Coach Lynn Blevins, he was the one who started our program here. He reached out to me and just kind of asked, what would it take to get you to come here to Rogers State? And I said, well, I'm not staying in the city that I grew up in. Like, that's not what I'm going to do. I drove past Rogers State every single day. Never dreamed that I would go to school here. And he's like, well, come up for a visit. And I, of course, again, being an 18-year-old, I told my parents, no, I'm not going. And they said, just go hear him out. Let's go check it out. And so I came up to campus. I fell in love with it. I saw myself here. I believed in what he was telling me, what he was wanting to see be built, be a part of something that was new. And it made me excited. So that was, kind of all the rest is history, I guess. So I made the choice to, not go to Northern Oklahoma College to play softball. I decided to come here to Rogers State and play golf. And it was the best decision, obviously, that I ever made. And I'm very blessed, again, to as a person, as an athlete, to have the option, to be able to be blessed with either option, but again, to be able to play the sport that I love, and at a high level, but also at the start of our program. And again, fell in love with the idea of being the part of the foundation to start our program here at Rogers State. So Coach Blevins believed in me, and he offered me a scholarship. Decided again to come here, and then from there, I just never really looked back. I continued to work at Heritage Hills. I lived here on campus. Even though it was in my hometown, it was like I went home, obviously, for the holidays and things like that. But my parents would even say it was like she was 3 hours away, because I tried to make sure that and they allowed me to. So which I'm blessed to have. But because that was what I was so nervous about. Again, as an 18-year-old, you always think that you're going to go off to college, not necessarily stay in the area that you grew up in. And again, it was the best decision that I could make for myself. And then when I even tell my players now, I tell them all the time, I would have recruited myself for my work ethic. I would have recruited myself because I worked hard, but I wouldn't have recruited myself in the terms of golf. Again, I didn't play the junior golf. I didn't necessarily have the scores that I expect now of the players that I'm recruiting. But that's the evolution of women's golf too. In the last 10, 15, 20 years, and that's golf in general, but especially women's golf, we've seen this trend. I mean, I even as a coach, my first couple of years, I'm looking for, you know, 80, 78 scoring averages. Now all of a sudden I'm needing to try and find, close to even par, 75s, scoring averages. And that's who's going to come in and help make an immediate impact on our program now, right? I mean, we can still develop those players that might have the 76s, 78s, maybe even 80 scoring average into a better player as well. So and that's what we do. That's what we strive to do. But it's again, that's the evolution of golf in general, but especially women's golf. It has evolved so much and has grown a lot, and so is junior golf, and it's exciting when I have the opportunity to go work a junior camp and see the excitement that these young players have, and seeing the U.S. kids tournaments and the dads or the moms caddying for their child. It's exciting to see, because it's a great sport because you can play it the rest of your life. You don't see any other, usually maybe pickleball, as pickleball keeps getting more and more predominant, you might see it, but you don't see very many playing basketball when they're 80. You don't see them playing softball or baseball when they're, again, 75 or 80. You see them you see them out at the golf course. It's a sport that you can play for the rest of your life, and it's exciting when I get to see a 5, 6 year old really interested, wanting and thriving and wanting to know more about golf.
Mhm. Yeah. So Coach, you
So
mentioned that, you earned your bachelor's degree from Rogers State in biology, and then, you got your master's degree in education and sports administration, from East Central. So tell me about, what drew you, to get your master's degree in education and sports administration, given you got your bachelor's in biology, and then just what drew you, to become a college coach, after attending Rogers State.
yeah. So when I came on my visit here at Rogers State, my senior year, I met with an advisor, and I flat out said I wanted to be a teacher and a coach. And both my parents are teachers and coaches. My dad was a high school football coach, high school wrestling coach. Then when I was younger, he transitioned into a principal. And then my mom's always been a school secretary, been a teacher's aide, and now is works as a treasurer still for Claremore Public Schools in our area. So they know the hardship, or they knew the hardship of being a teacher, and the demands, and what it takes. So when I met with the advisor here at Rogers State, we didn't have an education program. So Dad said, "Well, you've always liked science. Why don't we do a science degree?" And he, in his eyes, he was hoping I would pick more of a health career, and with doing that degree. But I always knew in my heart that I wanted to teach, and he did too. And he said, at least you can get alternatively certified. You could still have the option to teach with a biology degree. And so I said, yeah, I think that's great. I was super excited about it. And don't get me wrong, there was plenty of times that growing up, all of us, you want to be a doctor, you want to be a nurse, you want to do something in the health field. And that was exactly what I thought I wanted to do. So that was the reason that I chose biology, and I'm super blessed. I love that. I love my degree. I'm still a science nerd at heart. I love helping, even when we have team study hall, helping my girls with some of their biology stuff. Obviously, I don't get to practices often or anything like that. But then I went and I even taught high school biology and botany and zoology. So I love that I was able to use my degree for those few years of being a high school teacher and coach. And then when I finished my degree here at Rogers State, I knew again that I wanted to teach. I wanted to coach. I wanted that experience. And it was before grad assistants were really a thing. Well, and especially here at Rogers State, we didn't have graduate assistants at the time. We didn't even have a graduate degree yet. So we have some graduate degree programs, and we're growing more and more. Um, so that was where I found the the East Central University, excuse me, in Ada, Oklahoma. They had it was pretty new, but they had an all online option, Masters of Education Sports Administration degree. And I knew if I didn't kind of continue straight away, I didn't know if I'd really end up going back to do my master's. So I stayed and helped my what I stayed and helped my program here at Rogers State for 1 year and did my master's online. I had to go to, I think, Ada 2 or 3 times to present and do some different things. Um, and that's how I got my master, obviously got my master's degree, but it was a great blend. I went from learning kind of about the inner workings of the body and learning how the body creates energy and everything that I needed to know anatomically. But then I got to take again that science nerd side of me and take it and go into the sports administration side, which also interests me, right? Being an athlete and being part of the athletic department for so long, as even as a student athlete, getting to understand the guarantees and the inner workings of not only college athletics but even pro teams, and understanding legal aspects of sports and the sports ethics, but then taking it a step further, getting to create workouts and doing methods of strength and conditioning and things like that with that master's degree. It was a nice blend because, again, I kind of took what I knew from how the body worked to now I get to create workouts and everything like that. So again, it's interesting that it's kind of two different, completely different degrees, but they really blended well and blended nicely. And now, obviously, with what I do every day, it really benefits what I do. So
Yeah. And you mentioned you coached and taught at Miami High School from 2015 to 2017, and you've been
yep.
coaching at Rogers State since 2017. So just tell me, what's it been like, coaching both at high school and now, coaching college golf, what have been some of the differences and just, what's it been like, coaching both high school and now, college golf?
Yeah. So at there in Miami, we only had 2 girls, I think, on the team when I first went up there, and was excuse me, a teacher and a coach. And on our golf team, we only had 2 girls. So then by the time golf season actually rolled around, that's who was enrolled in it in the fall. So again, we have spring high school golf here in Oklahoma. By the time spring rolled around, we had, I think, 6 or 7, and it was other athletes that were part of the basketball team that I coached, and part of even the cheer team and part of the dance team and stuff like that. So they, because I was I'm always I believe in being active in the area that you are coaching in. So even I still lived in Claremore, but I drove to Miami every day, which is about an hour north of us. But I would always go to every event that I could. I really bought into seeing my athletes and my students outside the classroom. I really feel like I feel like it's crucial for that. And I feel like that's the same thing that I do now. Obviously it's easier. It's here in my hometown, but so they got to know me. They saw, what I did and everything like that. So they really bought in. So then by the time golf season rolled around, we had we may even had 8 girls. I really honestly don't remember, but we had quite a few young ladies that came out to try golf, and some loved it, some didn't. But it was all beginners, and that's and it was great. It was a good experience for me. I learned to manage a budget. I learned to manage a booster club. I learned how to put POs on and purchase orders on and what not to do and everything else. So it really kind of was an eye-opening experience. Obviously I was very naive. You're 20. Again, I was 22 when I was an assistant here at Rogers State, and you always think, a lot more than what you do. And then to go and become, a head coach by yourself, it's a, it's a whole nother animal. And so I had a lot of great mentors, a lot of great help. Um, our boys basketball coach at MIAA, he was the boys golf coach. He took me under his wing. Coach Mercer, he's now an athletic director up there at the high school. He was a great mentor for me. He actually knew my dad from the coaching world. So that always helps whenever, again, you have, I mean, again, you surround yourself with great people. It builds you and helps you be successful. And that's exactly what I was able to do. And I was very blessed to be able to do that. So but it was just a different animal. Again, high school golf, again, you have beginners, you're really trying to teach them, you're trying to nurture the game, you're trying to not have the breakdowns and being upset and trying to keep them energized and excited about golf, and also learning the rules of golf. So, and usually in a short amount of time, high school golf is usually about 6 to 8 weeks. And then year two at MIAA, we even had, I think, 10 girls come out. And so we just kind of continued to grow the team and grow the program. And we even had, we had them make the regional tournament, then made it into state that second year. And it was super exciting. It's a great, it was a great area up there for golf, and a great city to be in. And then to be able to transition back to the college level, it was a blessing. Again, you get to pick your team. You get to make sure who do you have coming in? Who do you have going out? What seniors do I need to replace? And things to that nature. So obviously, during that time span, I was keeping up through social media. I was keeping up with the girls that I had coached, played with and coached here at Rogers State. And in 2017, I was able to come back and be able to take over the program here. And I was fortunate in the fact that I had young ladies, obviously, that were not my recruits. They were the previous coaches. And I came in. I emailed all the team because I got hired really middle of June. July 1 was my start date of 2017. I emailed the team. The girls will still give me a hard time. A lot of them saved that email, and they'll screenshot it to me every now and then. But I introduced myself. I let them know, that I was in it for the long haul. I wanted to see what we could do here at Rogers State. We at the time, it was when GolfStat was around, and I think we were, who knows, 100 ranked, in the hundreds, team, maybe in the 70s. We might have been 75 in the country. And I've, in that email, flat out told them, like, I want to be a national contender. I want to see, us do X, Y, and Z. I want to see, and it's college golf is unique in the fact that it's an individual sport, but it's usually your last chance to be a part of a team, unless you get to be picked for, the Curtis Cup or the Walker Cup, or you even get chosen for the Arnold, the Palmer Cup and things like that. You don't have a team, or the Ryder Cup or Solheim Cup. Again, you're not part of a team unless you do some inter squad stuff with your golf club. So then that's, in that email, I just said, we're going to do team oriented things. We're going to do team building. We're going to make sure, that we're cheering each other on, and what I don't, again, I probably have it screenshot somewhere because they, like I said, they send it to me every now and then. But I was fortunate because I had 3 young ladies that were coming in that 100% bought into everything that I was doing, that I wanted to see happen. 2 of them were sophomores. One was actually an incoming freshman. Jessica Green, who is now actually an assistant coach at one of our big rival schools, Central Missouri. And she's from Cape Town, South Africa. Again, she was not my recruit. Again, she was coming in as a freshman my very first year. But she bought into everything I was doing. Sydney Murray from Kansas, and then Mariana Flores, that originally from Mexico. They both they both as well bought into everything that we were doing here at Rogers State and what I was envisioning. And they helped me create it. They helped run with it and help me become a young coach. We kind of matured together. So I was very blessed to have not only those three, but all the girls that came in at that time. And whenever I came back, Micah Easton was still part of the team. She was in her senior year. She had made the regional tournament as an individual the year before in 2016. And so I knew, excuse me, the spring of 2017, 16, 17. So I knew we had the opportunity to be a really, really good team if they were, uh, you know, coached correctly, in my opinion. We did that. We went from, again, I think if I remember right, we were around ranked 75 or so. We moved up all the way up into the 30s that first year. And then we kind of have never stopped. We continued to try and do things the right way. And while we're doing it, we have a lot of fun.
Mhm. Yeah, that's awesome. You mentioned, your team was ranked in the hundreds. Now I believe, you're number 18 in the recent poll. So congrats on all the success you've
Thank
had so
you.
far.
Thank you.
So let's talk about your team's, fall season. Obviously, it was highlighted by first place finish in the opening tournament, and then you got first place in the Tulsa Cup, and then second place in Nebraska. So, Coach, I just want, to give you the floor. How would you assess your team's fall season?
It was a great fall.
Hmm.
Obviously, opening up the year with a big win, it was fantastic. It was exciting to see. We had a lot of great success this fall, and every year you never know what it's going to be like. You hope you even pray. We cross our fingers, we cross our toes that it's going to be a great year, that everybody stays healthy, that everybody comes back ready, because virtually again, November, December, January are those off months that we have to have our athletes doing things on their own to get ready. But then so is May, late May, June, July. Again, they have to kind of do things on their own. They have to be playing tournaments. They have to, be practicing and things like that. So we're again fortunate because they do that on their own. They played a lot of the girls played a lot of tournaments this summer. They came in ready to go. And you could see that we came in and went to the Northeastern States tournament down at Muskogee Country Club, um, and everybody played great. It wasn't just one individual. Obviously, Lydia Satoris ended up capturing the victory over her teammate Brianna Maddox, but we had a first place finish and a second place finish from both of them individually, which obviously helped our team win. But even our other three girls played phenomenal at that event. They didn't let, and we would talk about it all the time, don't let one bad hole you know dictate the rest of the round. Like one bad thing, one bad swing, it's going to happen. I mean, it's inevitable. That's golf. How you react, how we come back from that's what's going to control the rest of the round. So they stayed poised. They played phenomenal, from the top down. And then we were also fortunate because the whole team was able to come up. Actually, because we started late on Tuesday, so they did tee times Monday and Tuesday. So we had like 1:30 tee times, I think, on Tuesday afternoon, and Muskogee's about an hour away. And so the whole after class, the whole team was down there. So not only was it the five, but the whole team ended up getting to be there and get to witness us our first team win of the 2025 2024 2025 season. And so it was exciting for me to be able to sit back and watch them kind of win it for each other and be able to support one another. Then, like you said, we finished. We went down to Dallas Baptist tournament. It was a great event. We finished fifth, but it was a great national field. Only finished a couple of shots out of third. Then from there, went up north to Nebraska Kearney's event and finished runners up. That's actually our conference preview. Got beat by Central Missouri, which is a great golf program, great team. Chris Port's one of my very best friends. Again, he has Jessica Green as his assistant there, who's one of my former players. And so again, those three tournaments they were all three in a row of September, were really kind of the setting point, if you will. It really started out really well. We're excited to go back up to Meadowlark Golf Club, which is up in Nebraska for conference. It'll be cold and windier probably in April. And then we have finished the last 2 years at conference runners up to Central Missouri. So a little bit of target on their back. We're really excited to obviously get back up there and try and strive to go win the conference championship. And then finish the fall down in Edmond, Oklahoma, 2 hours away from us at Kicking Bird, which is where our regional tournament will be played in May. And it was still a great event. I had two freshmen in the lineup that week. Kristen Goodsman daughter, which is one of our seniors, she had played the previous three events, and golf is golf. I mean, it was just one of those, roller coaster rides for her. She was kind of on that downward slope and about to be on the upward slope, if you will. But so we had two freshmen in the lineup, and Elle Daniels, who's an Oklahoma girl, and then MIAA from Argentina. And MIAA actually had made the other three tournaments, but Elle replaced Kristen, and Elle deserved it. She'd shot 2 under par rounds during qualifying, played phenomenally well, and I was super excited to see her in the lineup as a freshman. And she gave us a great round on day one as a freshman. So to be able to not only see our seniors go and play well in our junior with Brianna Maddox, but to see even our freshmen step in there and really help, and our sophomore Lauren Anderson, Cameron Zuniga, as well as Rylan Ashley, they've all helped in big ways and that sort of thing. So then getting to the final tournament of the fall, I apologize, but the Tulsa Cup, it's all right. We've hosted the Tulsa Cup now for 4 years. So the girls that are seniors, our very first Tulsa Cup, they were freshmen. And so we've been second, we've been third, we've been in the lead after day one, and we've lost the tournament, and that sort of thing. So to be able to go and play 3 great rounds, because it's a 54-hole tournament. Monday was beautiful weather. It was actually very, very warm in Oklahoma, but it was very windy. Up to 30-mile-an-hour gusts at times and things like that. And we played the golf course hard. I mean, it's at the club at Forest Ridge and Broken Arrow. It's already a tough golf course. And then to throw in wind made it that much more difficult. And so that first round as a team, I believe we were +6, I think, as a team. And we were led by Lydia Satoris, but we had a lot of great success in that first round, as well as the rest of the tournament. It was kind of that. Then second round, the wind actually by the afternoon picked up even more. We gave up a few shots, but it was still a great, I think we had the lead going into the third round for Tuesday handily. But again, it's things that we talk about is we don't, I try, if I could take their phones and not let them look at the scoreboard, I probably would, but it's like I tell them, like, I don't care that we're in the lead. We got to worry about what we need to go worry about, which is go play the golf course tomorrow. We're not worrying about anybody else. We're not worrying about, we've got it's one shot at a time, stay in the moment and just keep kind of trucking along and not let things get to you. And so fast forward to Tuesday, that's exactly what they did. They fought for every shot. Again, it was a hard day, even more wind a little bit than even on Monday. And we finished very, very well. Lydia Satoris captured her second victory of the fall individually. And then we also captured our second team win of the fall, like you mentioned. And it was, again, very exciting. Our first ever Tulsa Cup victory as a team. And for me as a coach, and anybody that hosts knows how much time and energy and thought process goes into hosting an event. So to be able to walk away with that team win, it's exciting because it's, you know, your hard work pays off anyway, because you're doing it for the student athletes. You're trying to put on a very good experience for them when we host these tournaments. Not just myself, but Rogers State. Like, I have a lot of help. I mean, from our athletic department, from the top down, they come out and they help us with our tournament. Even our women's basketball coach is out there watching us and supporting us, and in our men's soccer coach and everything like that. And they're out there volunteering and helping us put on a great event. Again, not only for our athletes at Rogers State, but for the athletes that are participating in the Tulsa Cup event. So it's just exciting that we are able to, again, win that event, but also win it on the fourth year, where these girls, you know, my seniors, Kristen, Lydia, and Jessica Osden, they were freshmen when this, you know, was the inaugural year in our first year ever hosting the Tulsa Cup. So to win on their senior year, it was very exciting, and they were excited about it. And I'm hoping that it's the precursor to how the rest of our spring will go.
Yeah. So Coach, you mentioned, your team got the victory at the Tulsa Cup, back at the end of October, where you hosted the club at Forest Ridge, and then you also host it'll be the 10th annual Hillcat Classic, March 10th and 11th at Bailey Ranch. So just tell me about, hosting these two tournaments. What's it like, coaching that week and hosting a tournament, and then just tell me more, how special it was, to get your team's first victory at the Tulsa Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. So like I mentioned, it's a lot. And I know any coach that hosts an event knows exactly what I mean. And um, we again have a great relationship with these golf courses. So Forest Ridge is great to host with. Bailey Ranch is phenomenal to host with. Bailey Ranch is it's a public golf course in the city of Owasso, which is 20 miles from campus, and it is unbelievably, it's a great golf course, great track. They do a phenomenal job, the city of Owasso, in the money that they put into it. And then their head golf professional, as well as their director of golf and GM, they help us in making sure that our event is ran well. Like you mentioned, it's our 10th annual one. Excuse me, our 10th annual there at Bailey Ranch, and we it's difficult, and my girls will tell you, they can tell when we're hosting. Coach is a little more stressed. There's a little bit more agitation per se going on, but they understand it. Again, I kind of pre-warn them. I'm like, hey, we're about to host. We got this going on. You need to understand. It's not going to be things that you're doing. It's just that I've got 15 different things going on. We've got invoices coming in. I've got payments going out, and everything like that. And because again, it's a one woman show with our golf team, and hopefully one day I'll have help, whether that's a grad assistant or an assistant coach. But my ladies are very aware of it, and understanding of it. A lot of them will say if they have time in between their classes, they'll come by the office and come hang out, and they'll ask, can I help? And a lot of times, sometimes I'll let them help me, don't get me wrong, but for the most part, I tell them, I'm like, no, girls, like, I'm doing this for you. And it's not, whenever we host, our basketball games or our soccer games, the basketball teams aren't having to help set up or help break down or, do those kinds of things. So we really try to, myself included, be aware that we're doing it again for our golfers here at Rogers State, but we're also trying to put on a great event that's memorable to other student athletes that are coming in to compete. And my RAD here at Rogers State, we talked about it whenever I first came on board. We wanted to host great events. We last spring, we were able to host the NCAA Division II Central Regional up at Hillcrest Country Club. And, we want to continue to be able to host those type of events. And that was up at Bartlesville. Again, it's about an hour away, but we have a satellite campus up in Bartlesville of Rogers State. So Anyway, that all being said, it just from the very beginning, when I first came on board, that was something that Chris Radcliffe and I talked about. We wanted to make sure that we hosted great events. And then again, myself and our men's golf coach Steve Brown, he and I work very well together. We really try to help one another where we can. We usually co-host those events together, Tulsa Cup and Hillcat Classic. And then from the top down, from our athletic department, they're kind of all in for those 3 to 4 days of prep and breaking down and going and helping put out banners and helping go set pin flags, or even just go set out the waters in the coolers and things like that. It's all kind of hands on deck. And then on Tuesday afternoon, the one thing that I always usually have our girls and our men's golfers help us with is just the breakdown, like help us roll up banners and things like that. So that's what's really pretty cool from especially us being a Division II school. We have a great print shop on campus that can do banners for us and everything. So we not only have these tournaments, but we try to really, kind of logo them out and make sure that as you enter the golf area, in the golf course and the clubhouse, you're coming up to a tournament. Like it's a good feeling, it's a good vibe. We have feather flags out. We have, we just kind of have all the things going for us and things like that. So again, we're just trying to make it a great experience and a memorable experience for all student athletes and coaches that come and play. So, and again, sorry, I know I'm long-winded on all these. But to your question, as far as hosting and coaching, it's awesome. It's a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong, my group me is usually blowing up from the tournament as I'm trying to coach. But from that standpoint, it's maybe sometimes like a good distraction. I'm not necessarily I'm paying attention to the girls and I'm watching what they're doing, but I'm not necessarily like, as whenever we're on the road, obviously, like I'm more aware of how we're playing and how we're doing, where when I'm hosting, there's a lot of different things going on. So I think it kind of helps. It kind of helps put me at ease, if that makes sense. And that sort of thing. So, and I think the girls would agree it probably is a good distraction and that sort of thing whenever we do host events.
Yeah. So let's talk about obviously, your senior leader, Lydia Satoris. She's from Indonesia. She got two, individual victories this fall, and she got the victory at the Central Region Golf Championship last year. And I was even reading on your university's website that she even received a congratulation, letter, from the House of Representatives for her victory at the Central Region Championship. So just tell me a little bit about Lydia, what she means to your program. She was even, the freshman of the year, her freshman year. So just tell me what Lydia means to your program, how the transition, was so easy for her, being from Indonesia, given, she was freshman of the year, her freshman year. And then just talk about how cool it was for her to get, this letter from the House of Representatives.
Yeah, absolutely. Lydia's been that transformational player. You always hope that you get every young student athlete that comes in, you hope will help your team, help your program, that whether they make every tournament or they make only one or two, you hope that they come in and they have a great experience, but they also help your team and help your program, help me as a coach to grow and develop. And that's exactly what Lydia's done. Again, not only has she made a difference in golf, she's made a difference even within the classroom. And she actually came in. I remember my very first conversation with her when I first was getting to know her. And the reason we were able to get Lydia, so back to asking about how we get these international players, we had Morel Dial from Indonesia as well.
Okay.
And so, in this next fall is a prime example. We're getting another Argentinian, which Milay knows, our freshman
Okay.
from Argentina. And then I have two French girls coming in that one of our men's golfers knows. So it's word of mouth, right? Like if a student athlete comes here and they're having a great time and they have a great experience, they're going to tell their friends about it. They're going to, or you hope that they will. You hope that they will bring even players like themselves or better players with them. And so Lydia came to us because of Merelda. Merelda told me about Lydia. She was kind of under the radar, not getting recruited a whole lot. And honestly, was kind of even a late ad. She was not one that signed on signing day. I think she actually signed maybe a couple of few weeks after signing day because I was still talking with her and that sort of thing. But I remember our very first conversation. I said, "So what are you interested to, major in?" And she's like, "Golf," and we laugh about it, and I found it funny, and I said, "Well, I understand that, but so I had to explain, you got to, pick a major, and depending on what some of your interests are, and you can do sports management, so I gave her some ideas, right? But that's all she, eats, sleeps, it's golf for her, 100%. And she's one that wants to try and keep playing once she's done here at Rogers State, and she's somebody that can do it if she'll put her mind to it, um, and she'll work as hard as she needs to. She will absolutely be able to continue on and play, whether that's here in the U.S., which I hope, but even if it's a European tour or an Indonesian tour, she'll be able to play some pro golf, and that's what I'm excited to see her continue to develop. But to say all that, she developed so much. She came in as a freshman, very, very quiet, very reserved. Did not, she was not very outspoken. She kind of just kept things, close to her vest. And she still is like that sometimes. She's just very even keel. Like, she can have a double and she looks like she just birdied it. I mean, that's just how she is, and that's what makes her a great golfer, to be quite honest with you. And so, but that being said, from freshman year till now, she's much more outspoken. She obviously has found, she's found her confidence. She is surrounded herself with some great people, teammates, as well as friends and family. Very, very, very good support system for her, and but not without some trials, right? And the culture of Indonesia, like parents, even for Merelda and for Lydia, like all parents want the best for their children, but they are very hard. They're very hard on them. They're much more, not necessarily even discipline oriented, but disappointed, and they want to see them succeed. And when they don't succeed, it's how it comes across from them is very defeating, right? And that sort of thing. And I get that 100%. And it's humbling in the fact that they were able to not just stay in Indonesia, they were able to come to the US, see different cultures. I mean, again, they even now, like, they see girls in the US that have parents that are like their parents that are like very, very hard on them, demanding, wants a lot out of them. And they also see the parents that are more the nurturing and the coddling, or whatever the case may be, and they see what's helped them, and it's actually helped them to have the ones that were hard on them and demanded a lot, because they were able to come here on their own and be very successful. And we, again, Lydia and I especially, we've had a lot of conversations about that, and it helped her mature, it helped her grow up, it helped her in a lot of ways. So again, she's been a transformational player that has developed very well, had a great freshman year. Like you said, she was freshman player of the year. Then her sophomore year, she was actually kind of what I would say the quietest year for her. She still played steady. She played well. Just didn't win quite as often. She didn't make as many birdies. She didn't, she wasn't as confident, I feel like. And then she came back her junior year, and it was just kind of unstoppable. And more or less, actually, she was more probably unstoppable her spring season last year. Again, like you mentioned, she won the NCAA regional championship, and I don't know where you went. Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't know if I should keep talking.
Oh, yeah.
But she won she won the NCAA regional championship, and then was named as an All-American later in the summer, and played well even at nationals and everything else. So anyway, she just came in that junior year with a lot of confidence, and that has continued into this senior year that I really truly believe will be her best year yet. Again, she already has two, like you mentioned, two individual victories, and we hope to kind of keep that rolling. I just met with her actually yesterday, and we talked some about different things, and again, she is the I know I mentioned it. She's been a transformational, great foundation player for us. But one of the things that she's always willing to help. She's always willing. She's the type of player that you really want. She does all the little things. She might be, and I strive for this with each of my players, but she might be one of our best. She is one of our best players in our program and in our history, but she's one of the ones that will also do the most. She'll hold the door open for anybody. If I need help in the office, or if I need help setting up drills, or I need help helping with junior camps, whatever the case may be, she's the first one to say, yeah, I'm in. Like, what time do I need to be there, coach? And not, or even for community service, we do a lot of community service. Again, from me being here at Claremore, being from Claremore and knowing a lot of people, we are very heavily involved in our community, which I think is very important. And she's one of the first ones that's like, hey, I'll be there. Like, just tell me, what do I need to do? What are we wearing, or whatever the case may be. And so she's again, just an all around great person. And again, I'm blessed because I have all 10 of my girls. They're all great young ladies, and they're all willing to, they would all be willing to help anyone in need. And, but Lydia, again, whenever we all see it, whenever you become really, really good at your sport, the little things sometimes, go away or go to the wayside. But for her, she stays humble. She knows where she's from. She is very secure about all that. So it really helps her.
Yeah. So Coach, at this year's Leading Ladies Gala, you received the Leader in Education Award. So tell me, just what did it mean to you to receive this award, given that, the winners are nominated by their peers? And then just tell me about the Leading Ladies Gala, and just, tell me about some of the things outside of your coaching duties that you do, for Rogers State, like you're a coordinator of annual giving with the Rogers State Foundation. So just tell me about receiving this award and some of the things that you do outside of, your coaching duties for Rogers State.
I was blown away that I received, for one, any nomination
Yeah.
for that, but especially to be leading lady in education. It was again, being from two parents from the education system, and being fully aware of the time commitment that every educator puts in. There's a lot of other educators that probably were much more deserving, I feel like, and because I'm the first to, I don't like being in the limelight. I don't like the attention per se. I like to be behind the scenes type person. And
Mhm.
so to even get one nomination, but then whenever they called me, we were actually headed back home from a golf tournament. We were actually headed back from DBU's event down at Robeson Ranch. And our Chamber of Commerce director, or executive director, as well as the marketing director there for the Claremore Chamber, called me, and they've known me a long time. Again, we help with anything that we can in the community, so they know that they can always reach out. And I didn't know what they were calling for. They mentioned how it wasn't just one; it was multiple people that had not nominated me, put my name in there, and then my understanding, it goes to an outside city and different people that then vote on it. You have this pool of people, and then it goes out. And so to be, again, not only selected but to be nominated, it was very rewarding to, again, to me and to my family. It really meant a lot to me. Again, Claremore is home. Claremore raised me. I'm a product of Claremore Public Schools, and I'm very, very proud of that. And so to be selected, as any leading lady, but even especially leading lady in education was very exciting. And then the event itself, we were fortunate. My whole team got to come. The event took place here on campus. We have a great ballroom area in our Dr. Carolyn Taylor Center, and so we had a donor who provided and sponsored the table, and wanted one of my ladies to be there to see to be there for the event, but to see me get the award, obviously. So and then my parents were there, and it was, again, then also my work family from the athletic department, but then also, like you mentioned, the foundation office was there. And so it was, again, very rewarding to be recognized for the work that you do. You know, it is, we always do a lot. We always try to be seen in the community, whether it's myself, like I'm on a lot of different boards, a lot of committees, try to help my community. And then my ladies also are there with me at a lot of different things. And so for, again, for me to be seen that way was very, very rewarding, and was an exciting time. And then in order to, at the event, for my team to be there, honestly, it was an emotional and everything else, like even right now. But it was it was an exciting time. And then the event itself was great. It was just a nice banquet that recognized all the leading ladies in the community. Each one very very deserving of their award in each of the categories and everything else. So it was a very exciting time. And then to be able to kind of shortly explain, in addition, so when I first came back to Rogers State, I was actually a professor. An adjunct professor. I taught a few sports management classes. Again, with that being my master's, I enjoy teaching. I love teaching. And then in 2019, the development office, there was actually a need for an alumni director. And so I approached with the idea of, can I still be a full-time golf coach, help with alumni stuff and that sort of thing. And I was fortunate enough to, for the development office, and at the time, Vice President Maynard, who's now Vice President Valencia, they each gave me an opportunity there in the development office. My role has changed, so I'm coordinator of annual giving, which I help with. I help with all of our events. I help with our annual campaigns and our giving week, our main one as well. One of our main stewardship programs, which is Hill Club. I help kind of run all those things. And then, but not only that, there's 6 of us in the office, and we all kind of run together as a team. And the nice thing is, they know my first thing is my girls, like is my golf duties. And but it doesn't mean that I'm not, there for all of our events and helping and raising funds for all students here at Rogers State. So that's kind of my duty in a different capacity, is helping to fundraise money for endowments, unrestricted scholarships, help with our STEM campaign that's going on. And we also have an athletic campaign for an indoor facility and everything else. So all of that goes kind of hand in hand, and I'm kind of that athletic liaison for the foundation office. So it really makes it nice. I'm on campus. I have actually 2 offices. So girls sometimes have to ask me, which office am I in at foundation or here at the gym here at Bushy Head Fieldhouse. And so it's very rewarding, because again, I'm not only just helping our golfers and our women's golfers, but with fulfilling their desire to play college golf and finish their degree. But I also get to help all of our students at Rogers State, and get to meet a lot of those students and everything else through our different events through the foundation. So that is what I do over there. And I'm, again, very blessed to be able to be a part of that team and being able to raise funds for Rogers State.
Well, congrats on, receiving this award, Coach. Very well deserved and really
Thank
happy
you.
for you. You definitely
Thank
deserve
you.
it. So three more things I wanted to touch on or
Yeah.
ask. So outside of coaching, you're also a realtor. So, talk to me about being a realtor and, how did you end up becoming a realtor?
Yeah. So I became a realtor basically the year of COVID, the craziness that COVID had brought. None of us really knew, nobody did, obviously, but there was teams and programs that were, you know, dissolving and not, you know, basically coming back. And it was mostly in the private, universities and colleges, but we none of us really just I didn't know what was going to happen after COVID. So I just didn't want to be set back on my heels and not know where I was going. Obviously, I knew I could probably get a job at a golf course or whatever the case may be. But at the same time, it was something I went through the process of buying my first house, and loved it, loved every aspect of it. Thought it was super cool. My realtor at the time, and now she's my broker that I work for, Adrienne Johnson. She was awesome to work with. She made it exciting. Again, she's young and spunky and fun and everything else. So it made me excited about real estate. So she knew that I knew a lot of people in Claremore. And so even whenever we were going through that process, she's like, have you ever thought about getting your real estate license? Because again, I was doing a lot. I mean, and you always do whenever you're trying to buy your own home. But she's the one who kind of put that idea in my head. And then fast forward 3 to 4 years later, COVID hits, and I didn't want. It was that fall season where nobody we didn't have a we didn't have a season. The girls were here on campus, but every evening I would go home and work on the real estate classes and got those all knocked out. My parents also, whenever I mentioned that, hey, I don't want to be set back on my heels, my parents also have their real estate license. And so whenever I'm on the road, they're able to help me and vice versa. So it really kind of helps that we all three have our real estate license. And whenever both my parents are probably going to retire in the next couple of years. So whenever they fully retire, they can then sell a house or two, or they can kind of be their retirement deal in addition to receiving their retirement pension and everything. So anyway, I love it. I love it because it's something completely different. It's something that obviously I had to learn, something that I want to be able to invest even my own personal money someday into real estate and everything else. So that's what really kind of made me interested in it, and I wanted to know more about it. So that's kind of why I do it, and being able to help people find their dream house and get closed on it and kind of help them through the process and all that good stuff. But it's just a lot of fun. I really, really enjoy it. So, and being able to help people that are now my age, they have families, young kids, and being able, they're going from their first house into a bigger house and being able to try and kind of hit all the check marks that they're looking for and everything else. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So coach, your team, I believe I mentioned before, has attained, success over the past few years. Like for example, you brought your team to the national championship, in 2021 and 2022. And in 2022, your team got six tournament victories. So just tell me, what is, the success your team has had over the past few years, like even this fall, your team had two team victories. What is this, recent success over the past few years? What does it mean to you as coach?
It means a lot.
Hmm.
It means so much. It again, we always say it, iron sharpens irons. Everybody wants to be part of something successful. It helps recruitment. It helps getting the same caliber of players, if not better players that want to come here to Rogers State. It helps, our donors want to donate to something that's successful. They want to see you win. They want to see you, and obviously, it doesn't matter at the end of the day if we win or not. We're still going to have those donors, I'm sure, but it helps, right? It helps to cultivate new donations. It helps cultivate new opportunities. It helps gets us invited to new tournaments. We went from a team that would never probably be invited to some of the tournaments that we get invited to 4 or 5 years ago without the success that we have had. And it helped, honestly. We went from the Heart whenever we first went into NCAA Division II, we were part of the Heartland Conference. We were part of the West Region. Um, then Heartland Conference disbanded, and all of us were pretty much going to go in what we thought into the Lone Star Conference. Lindenwood made the jump to Division I, which then opened up spots in the MIAA, which is the conference we're in now. And we, being Rogers State and Newman, were able to become members of the MIAA conference. And so even that move alone, I truly believe helped us culturally. Like it helped our coaches. Everybody got more excited. Everybody was looking forward to it. We no longer had, I mean, and not that it was bad, but we no longer had to take 12-hour road trips down to Laredo. And that didn't affect us, obviously, because for golf, we want to play across region teams as well. We want to play across the US, but for our teams that have to play our, conference games, those are long road trips. And so it helped a lot whenever we made that move. And so that made us move into the Central Region, which has a lot of great teams in it, has from every sport, from every aspect. And but the opportunities really presented itself. We whenever that year that we moved into that conference in that region, we had a stellar year. We really had a great season. Like you mentioned, we had won 6 tournaments. We made it into the national championship. We actually had the lead at the regional. It was our first time as a team making it to the regional championship at St. Joseph Country Club. Jess Green went on to win that tournament in 2021, and that kind of solidified, wow, Rogers State is somebody to watch out for. And we've again continued that success. And as a coach, it's super exciting. As an alum to this program, it's exciting. It's exciting to get to reach out to my teammates and my former players and be able to tell them about the success that we're having and everything else. And just and in reality, we're still young. Again, we started our program back in 2009. So to see the jumps and the strides that we have made in a short amount of time, it's very exciting and humbling, and we're excited for more. It's like I tell the girls all the time, we've had a lot of success, but we want to continue that. We want to win a conference championship, win a regional championship, and go on to make it into the bracket at nationals that will then hopefully also give us a national championship. So those are big things that I want to see us be able to go and do.
Yeah. So finally, Coach, you always mentioned you're from Claremore. You attended Rogers State. You got your, starting coaching at Rogers State, and you've been, the head coach of the women's golf program since 2017. So just tell me, how special Rogers State is to you. I'm sure it's not just a university. I'm sure you would say Rogers State is home to you. So just, tell me, how special Rogers State is to you. Tell me about, Rogers State being special to you and your family. I'm sure it feels like home to you, and just tell me about, the impact, how special it is not only to get to be, head women's golf coach, but how special it is, to get to impact the lives of your young student athletes, on your team, and, how special it is to make an impact, on your university, as a whole in the community.
Yeah, it's again very rewarding, very humbling, I can't say it enough. I'm very blessed. I love what I do every day. I'm excited to always come to work. Obviously, are there times we all get in that, slump, that hamster ball or hamster wheel? Yeah, but it's always something new. It's always you make it what it is, right? And it's again, just it's amazing to see the transformation that we have made at Rogers State and what we're going to continue to do at Rogers State in terms of golf, but even just in terms of us growing as a university. And again, it is home for me. And home is always a great and safe place to be and to work, and I love it. And at the same time, it's hard. It is. Everybody knows you. Everybody knows the successes that you have had, and those are the same expectations. And so you always want to meet those expectations. And when you don't, that hurts too. So it's sometimes can be a double-edged sword sometimes, but it's very much home, and not only the sense of not just the sense of the community on campus, but the community of Claremore and the Rogers County area and Owasso and our surrounding footprint that we have, and being able, what I love to do, and my girls are usually there as well, but we try to go and support, all the teams. We try to be at every basketball game, especially because it's our off season time now. Whenever we pick back up in January, February, harder to make all the games or make them, but we try to make it to as much soccer games as we can. We try to be seen and sometimes heard, obviously, especially the girls in the student section or whatever. But I think those things are just as important and crucial, not just for me to build those relationships with people in the community that are coming to those games, but for my girls and my players to be student workers, or to, again, be in the student section to cheer on other teams, and things like that. It's a great student experience, for them to be able to go and do. So again, it is for sure home. I love being a Hillcat, and I'm very, very blessed that with the life that I've been given.